Hello and welcome to Cinema Bing Bong, your monthly film magazine program focused on the stars, surprises, and super special screenings happening at this year's... What, Rebecca? What?
I mean, I was warned that there was going to be an alliteration.
And I said it was quite bad, but here we are. And the super special screenings happening at this year's Whānau Marama, the New Zealand International Film Festival. It's a special episode. We're talking about the film festival. I'm Amelia, and this is Rebecca. Sup, Rebecca?
I thought there was going to be more alliterations.
No. I just wanted you to say something so people could learn to identify you by voice.
You wanted me to be like, hey guys, I'm so excited to be on this super special episode.
Yeah, because you are excited.
When they email me about Whānau Marama, I definitely know that's the film festival, and I'm not like, what the fuck is the Light family every time.
The Light family is quite sweet, though.
The Moon family?
It does. Yeah, I always think it's something about astronomy every time. I'm like, oh, is there something happening at the observatory? No, it's the film festival.
Am I subscribed to the observatory mailing list?
Could be. So basically,
I was just thinking about the observatory last night.
Because of the stars?
Because the stars, I was looking at some of the stars were visible last night, and then I remembered when I lived in Germany, I went to the observatory with my friend from Hobart, and we were like, oh, this is going to be so cool because we can see the Northern Hemisphere constellations, right?
Yeah, very exciting.
That we don't know about. Very exciting. We get there, and the guy is immediately like, now, you'll all be sick of what you see in the sky every night, so we're going to do something a little bit different and show you the Southern Hemisphere stars.
No! But the Northern Hemisphere ones are the ones they talk about in the movies, you know?
And then the songs. We don't know what the Big Dipper is.
Yeah!
The Big Dipper never said anything to us.
Look, I went and I saw Built to Spill live, and it was one of the most disappointing live concerts I've ever been to, because... they didn't really play the songs. They just played a little bit of the song and then did a 10-minute guitar solo. And so I was into the third hour of the concert and I was just about to leave. And then they did play Big Dipper. And you know what? I was like, it's all worth it for this.
Oh, that's a nice story, sort of.
All right, so let's get into the special.
Okay,
so
that's that.
We're gonna go through what our picks are.
Can I just make one more comment?
Yeah.
I was just thinking, is "Can't Stop" by Red Hot Chili Peppers the only song that mentions Matariki?
What? Does it?
Yeah, at the end it's like I'm gonna show you all the way up to Pleiades.
Oh.
Something like that. Sorry, I will confirm that.
Listeners, please write in. Message us on Instagram at Cinema Bing Bong. So, Rebecca, I'm looking at the alliteration that I put in here, and I've just put
Can I confirm?
Yes.
It says, can I get 2, maybe even 3 of these come in from space to teach you of the Pleiades? Which would be so racist if he did that in New Zealand. You're going to teach us.
Thankfully, Anthony Kiedis has never done anything problematic or offensive in his life. So,
okay,
Rebecca, I'm looking at my alliteration here, and I've put a big tick next to stars, and we're not going to talk about stars for the rest of it. I shouldn't have said it. But basically, okay, third attempt at this. So in this special episode, we're going to go through what our kind of big picks are for the New Zealand International Film Festival, because most of our listeners are in New Zealand.
Yeah, like 50%.
Yeah, even though I don't think either of us are going to be there for most of it.
Hey, I'm going to be there for exactly half of it.
Hell yeah. And then we're going to briefly touch on MIFF at the end, because I'm going to films at MIFF, because I'm in Melbourne.
MIFF.
Yeah,
I thought you
MIFF.
said myth.
No, MIFF.
I was like, we've already covered myth.
We've already covered the world of myth. Okay, so before we get into that, I've got a few kind of like, I got to warm into the fest. We're warming into the fest. Rebecca, what's your history with fest?
Well, I was thinking something really sad, actually, Amelia.
Okay,
so I was thinking about, like, all the times that I've been to the film festival. My first film festival, 2008, which we talked about in the last episode when I saw Welcome to the Sticks. And I was thinking, I was, like, reflecting on everyone I've ever been to the film festival with.
Yes.
And 90% of those people no longer live in Auckland.
Oh, I was about to be like, not me. I'm still your friend, but I've moved away from
You're still my
Auckland.
friend.
I really thought
You
that was
don't
going to be
live
like
here.
they died, or then I don't know them
No, I was
anymore.
like watching like a montage in my head of like my friend from school who moved to New York, my other friend who moved to New York, you moved to Melbourne, our other friend moved to Wellington and Dunedin, even like people's ex-girlfriends moved to Melbourne.
Yeah.
A couple of people I'm not really friends with anymore. And those are like the only ones who are still here.
So maybe that's why they've had to like slightly downsize the fest this year. It's brain drain. I was thinking about this, and I think the first, because when I was a kid, like my grandma, who was a very interesting character, a Catholic Marxist who had a picture of Mao on the living room wall. She went to a lot of film festival films, and so when I was a very little kid, I would get dragged along to, I don't know, like a documentary about the Bronze Age Celts or whatever. But my first like personal experience of,
I'm
like,
from a poor family, so we didn't do that.
Sorry. Damn. It's really the kind of like materialist analysis special today. But so when I was like a teenager, my parents, who I guess were concerned about me becoming a ponce or something, were like, we're not buying you clothes anymore. You have to get a job. And so because I went to school, the only time I could get a job was like on the weekend. So I worked Saturdays and Sundays at the supermarket, which was shit house, and made me into a lifelong vegetarian in the deli. Yeah. But one day I got to not go to work because I had my wisdom teeth out, and I was like, holy shit, it's the film festival. And I'm a freaky little 16-year-old who's obsessed with the 1960s. And so picture this, Rebecca.
I was there. I mean, we didn't know each other, but this is like the same year.
Yeah, I know, but you picture me. Picture me.
Okay.
I've just had my wisdom teeth out, so my face is like massively swollen up. My dad keeps calling me Chipmunk and laughing at me. I have to have a full head bandage on.
Ted Berry.
Like that goes under my chin, over the top of my head. Mm-hmm. It's a Saturday at 2 p.m. and they are screening a 4-hour documentary about Andy Warhol.
Oh, yeah.
Those
were the days.
At the bloody, like, Aotea Square where we saw Furiosa.
Uh-huh. And the listeners can imagine me with my two friends from school who are sort of flirting with each other and talking about how bad Welcome to the Sticks was.
Oh, boo.
And I'm like, oh my God, this has, like, changed my life.
And so I think there were about 4 people in there at the start. And by the end of this movie, which I was loving. I was on quite a bit of codeine, I think, because of the teeth removal. I was the only person there at the end of this documentary.
Oh my God, not your first time, you're the only person there.
Yeah, and I was like, this is what it's all about. This is what I've always wanted. They're just showing it just for me.
I think also that year I saw Troll 2.
Oh, sick.
At Event Queen Street. And there was like they like got the guy on the phone, like the guy who plays a child.
Oh, I heard about that. I didn't know you were there. That's amazing.
Yeah, I was there. Just going through quite a bad memory when we went to the room and we couldn't get seats together, except I was sitting next to an empty seat, but you didn't turn around or look at your phone the whole time.
I was quite, I will say, I was what they would maybe call now overstimulated, but what I would have said at the time, pretty freaked out because...
They would call manic.
They would call... Right. No, because we had been like, oh, I've heard The Room is like, a buzzy, bad movie.
Oh, I meant like in general.
Oh, yeah, no, in general I was. But when we showed up at The Room... I had thought like it will be like screenings because we went to like Birdemic and stuff, and that was mostly just like a bunch of like a not full screening of a bunch of people mostly who didn't seem to know what they were there for, and it was like
no, it wasn't. No, it was 2 full screenings.
Okay, whatever.
It was 2. No, I mean this is important for the listeners. So they screened Birdemic, this film. It's like a disaster film with like extremely poorly 2D animated birds, and they did 2 screenings of it at the Rialto at the same time, and we didn't know that we had bought different screenings.
No.
And then we realized it when we got there, and then we had to act like we didn't know that it had happened. And they eventually like squeezed us in like at the side somewhere.
Okay, that was a bad example. But most movies you go to at the film festival, there's people there, a lot of them are just taking a chance. It's kind of whatever. When we went to The Room, it was like everyone else who was there had like bags full of plastic spoons.
Oh yeah, and we
like
didn't know.
Ties tied around their heads, and they were like throwing footballs and stuff. And I was like, yeah, it was quite full on. So Rebecca, this is something I'm extremely interested in. When you're approaching the fest,
yes,
how do you navigate it all? Because I imagine you've got some kind of technique.
Yeah, of course I do. Okay, so what I'm looking for in the festival is I want to see movies from countries I've never seen a movie from before.
Hell yeah.
I want to see things that I don't think there's going to be another chance to see.
Yes.
That's a big priority. I don't want to see anything in black and white.
Tell me more about that.
I essentially cannot concentrate on something that has no colour.
Yes, okay.
I will do it if it's an old movie.
Yeah.
It infuriates me when it's a new movie and it just doesn't have any colour in it.
So you're not going to be one of those people who's watching the version of Johnny Mnemonic that's in black and white?
No, I'm not going to watch The Artist. I don't like watching Francis Ha.
You're not going to watch Fury Road, the version that's in black and white?
No. And I have to say, like, 10 of the movies in this fucking film festival are in black and white.
I know. When we get to the list, I've got some on my list.
I don't know if that was a fetish of the programmers, but I was infuriated. I was already infuriated by the film festival this year, and then that was like the cherry on top. What other stuff? I add everything that I think I might want to see to the wish list, and then see like what is going to be actually possible, like with clashes and stuff.
Yes.
I try not to prioritize like really big films because they're going to come back.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't have like a super strong example of that this year.
No, I think that Janet Planet probably.
Yeah, I think Janet Planet would probably come back. I thought, like last year, May, December was something that was like obviously going to come back. I wasn't in New Zealand for the festival last year, but like something like that. I'm just trying to think if I have any other techniques. No, it's like mainly about seeing stuff that I don't think that there will be another chance to see. I really don't prioritize restorations.
Yeah, interesting.
Or like re-releases or anything like that. Unless it was like a very special favorite movie of mine, I like don't see the point of using up like a time slot to do that unless it was like the Festival of Old where it went on for a lot longer and had a lot more venues.
I had a terrible experience at MIFF last year because they were doing I think every year they do a kind of like a mini series within MIFF of like restorations or even just like, here are a bunch of films of this person from the past.
Yeah.
And they were doing Dario Argento. And so we went to go see Tenebrae, and I was like really excited because I'd never seen that one, and I love Dario Argento.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one.
And the soundtrack rules. I've listened to the soundtrack a lot. And we were in there, and it was the worst audience I've ever seen any movie with, which was crazy to me because it was like the tickets for it were quite relatively expensive because it was like it was like they were only showing it once. And so I think they were like $30 and it was like on a Wednesday at like 10 p.m. And it was like us, maybe like 3 older men in trench coats who were there to enjoy it. And then like a bunch of kind of like weird, weedy art student types who 2 of which talked through the whole thing, 3 of which were hacking coughing, and all of them laughed throughout the movie, which is like not
why would you go? Like maybe their uni paid for them or something.
It's crazy to me that you would see like do you have no respect for Giallo? Raz, they had no respect.
Yeah, they had no respect. They had no respect for Giallo.
No respect for Giallo. There were bits of the movie that were like a little bit goofy, but they were like, a guy would get like gruesomely stabbed while like the best prog funk synth music you've ever heard played, and they would be like, fuck off.
I kind of had the opposite experience. If you can even understand what that means.
Okay.
When I saw last year at Marienbad.
Okay.
The audience was full of sort of like film school dweebs. And they were too into it.
Oh.
This was like at the embassy in Wellington, and they were all like, oh my God. Yes. And stuff. And then just like the whole time, and then at the end they were all like, I didn't enjoy the film, and then there was like this group of people who were like, oh my God, it was the best thing ever, and just like relaying the plot in such a like overexcited way that it felt fake.
That's so interesting.
And then I was like, this is like very uncanny because obviously no one's gonna, well, I don't think that anyone would pretend that they were like completely enraptured by last year at Marienbad, but it did feel like that.
I mean, I've had kind of, I guess, similar experiences to that especially at the Academy, screenings of really old movies that to me are like funny, like I went to see Alphaville, which is.
I thought you were gonna say Elf.
I went to see Elf. No, I saw Alphaville, which is like, it parodies certain noir tropes, and it on purpose is like absurd. Like the way it uses music cues and stuff, and like the way that the guy is like a spy from a different movie series. And so I was like, oh. And everyone else was like, sorry, this is a French New Wave film. I'm like furrowing my brow and staring intently at the screen. And so maybe am I the prick in either of these situations? I like to think that I was right both times, but
email us.
Yeah, DM us at Cinema Bing Bong. I now have access to the Instagram so that I can reply to people.
Yeah, because I had no idea what anyone was talking about. I think this is like, because the podcast is, because of the conversational format of the podcast, and this happens with like our personal friends as well. So people sort of message us and reply to something that we said maybe like 2 months ago. You just get a message being like, no, you're right about that. And you're like, right about what? The dad. And you can imagine that we don't know what that is. Do
you want to know how I decide what movies to say?
Yeah, of course. Sorry, did you want me to ask you back?
No, I just was trying to do a smooth segue. So it has kind of changed for me over the years because the last few years before I moved to Melbourne, I was doing reviews for flicks of the film festival. We were doing film festival coverage, so I would get like a set of tickets. And in doing that, I kind of had to like pick my lane, if you know what I mean. Like,
yeah,
like
okay.
you can't, like I was like, well, I am the person who writes for flicks, who cares about this kind of thing. So I guess I better see all of the movies that are like that. So that was quite interesting, and not previously how I had done it, which was usually a bit more haphazard, and ended up seeing some cool things like Flux Gourmet.
I was also, just to add, is that the film festival used to have different sections than it does now.
Yes.
So I think like previously I would look at the queer section and Incredibly Strange first.
Incredibly Strange used to be my like, how many films can I see from Incredibly Strange? And then I'll kind of like figure out the rest.
In the recent years, when Incredibly Strange, in my opinion, fell off, is that it started to like have an increasing number of what I would describe as pervert films.
I don't think I saw any of those.
Yeah, I think
I was going to say it had too much Quentin Dupieux.
No, it didn't. I think it would have like
they had 2 in 1 year.
Yeah, and you're just mad because you saw the bad one.
I know.
And that was last year. I mean, yeah, prior to that, they showed Deerskin in 2019. Anyway, it started to have more movies about like a weird guy who's a stalker.
Oh, yes. Okay.
Like, it seemed like, like every year there was a few films about like a guy who like is a sex criminal.
Yeah. Yeah.
And although I really enjoy strange films, I don't enjoy films with sex crimes in them. I think, was it the...
Yeah, I think it's a fine line with pervert films. Yeah. I'll watch like a bizarre like 70s basically art porno whenever. But there was a trend for a few years where people were making a lot of independent movies that were like, what if you had the perspective of the guy who murders and assaults women? Like, what if it was from his perspective? Which is not kind of interesting or fun to me.
Especially the 2019 film festival. I was in Wellington and I saw maybe 10 films and like 7 of them had depicted sexual assault.
Oh, wow.
Which like is not something that I really want to see. And it didn't really say in the program that the films were going to be like that. Yeah, it just felt like everything that we saw, it was a hassle because the public transport in Wellington is bad. So we're like taking Ubers like between cinemas and then getting there and like, oh, okay, it's like the same story about someone who gets assaulted, but it's in a different language.
Yeah. They don't seem to be that many of those this year, which is nice.
The point was they've gotten rid of Incredibly Strange and now it's like, what's it called? Like Late Night or something?
Yeah, with all the trans movies.
Yeah, but yeah, so yeah, I didn't feel happy. I didn't feel happy that they got rid of Incredibly Strange, retitled it as Nocturnal, and put all the trans movies in there. And also like the like theme of Nocturnal is like these late nights. Except I don't know if they're late nights in Wellington, because now the film festival's based in Wellington, because they're not late nights here. See, look, I saw the TV Glow Nocturnal. The screenings are August the 8th at 3:45 p.m. and the 17th at 6 p.m. on a Saturday.
Hey, that's night.
I was like,
6 is night. My MIFF picks is different though, because part of the reviewing films mean I ended up going to a lot of them by myself because I was like, I have one ticket and I'm probably seeing quite strange stuff. But now, me and my beautiful and long-suffering fiance, we split a 10 pass. So we each choose... Wait. Or
You
is
each
it...
choose 5.
Yes. No. We split a 12 pass and we each choose 3. There you go. And then we see additional movies on top of that. So that's been really...
Oh my God. The system is confusing.
We buy a 12 pass, which means that we can go to 6 movies between us.
Yeah.
So we each choose 3.
Yeah, and that's half.
Yeah. No. I choose 3, she chooses 3. That's 6 movies. That's 12 tickets because there's 2 people. Come on, Rebecca.
Yeah, 3 times 2 is 6.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Times 2 again. Okay.
Yeah.
There we go.
Which has been really cool because it kind of like, it means we get to go to each other's movies and it, like, because, you know, in the past it would be like, well, I'm going to go see this. And you'd be like, oh, maybe I'll go to that. Maybe I won't. Now it's like, well, I guess I am going to that. And then sometimes you're like, this is the best movie I've ever seen. That's why we saw Remembering Every Night, because Maddie picked it. And I would never have picked it because it looked a bit weepy to me. Still trying to get a hold of that for other people to see. It's been released on DVD, so...
I've never had a positive, long-lasting relationship like that. I haven't.
Well...
I was thinking the opposite. I was like, it's good that I just pick the films and I go to them all by myself, because I was remembering when I had someone else to go with, and then it would be like a lot of arguing about what to see. And then one time we saw a movie and the other person like huffed the whole time.
Oh my God.
And kept looking at their phone and had their arms folded. And then the next morning was like, no, you were right. That was really good.
I mean, no, I think our method works really well, because if there's a movie that the other person really doesn't want to see, you're just like, okay, well, I won't put that on our shared movie thing. I'll just go to that by myself.
Yeah, but I mean, you have to have a good relationship for that to work.
Yeah, I think me and my fiance have quite a good relationship.
I mean, if you have a bad relationship, you pick a film and the other person is like, oh, the whole time.
It even worked when we accidentally went to a over 4-hour movie. Because we didn't look at the runtime. We just sat in there and we're like, oh, this is going on for quite a while. And then suddenly it was like early afternoon.
It's a good tip for people who are in love with each other.
Shout out. Shout out the lovers. Shout out to
the listeners in love. My tip for people who are not in love, even if you are in a relationship, go by yourself.
Yeah, true. Okay.
I think there's nothing more awkward than like really enjoying a film next to someone who is not enjoying it.
My experience quite often at the cinema, to be honest, next to strangers, because I love to enjoy things. I
was going to say that the picking this year was a little bit different because of the price.
And I imagine because of how limited the screenings are this year.
Because the screenings are limited. There's only 2 venues, and I'm not going to be here for the first 5 days. So that was 2 externally and 1 internally imposed limitations. The next thing is that the tickets are now $26 in Auckland. They are not that expensive anywhere else. Just saying. So you essentially, like, if you want to see a lot, you have to buy the 10 pass, which was $180 in Auckland.
Okay. That's good value for money.
Yeah, that's good value for money. But to use the pre-booking system for the 10 pass, you had to submit a form where you like selected all the films that you wanted and then like emailed it to them. And you had to do that before the 15th of July. And then they book the films for you, and then you have to go and pick them up from tomorrow the 19th. You have to go pick up the physical tickets, and you have to... Oh, and the other complication was that when you buy the 10 pass, they mail it to you, and then you have to use the number on the pass to fill out the form. And then you take the physical pass to the actual office in town, and then they give you the physical tickets.
That feels like kind of charmingly retro to someone who doesn't have to do it.
Yeah, to someone who doesn't have to do it. And then, like, because I'm leaving New Zealand on Sunday, I had to like do all of this like before I go. But yeah, that's also an internally imposed limitation. But so usually I wouldn't sort of just be picking 10 films.
Yeah.
Because usually I would book the ones that I knew were going to sell out or be really popular, and then everything else I would just like see on the day, like how I felt. The other thing that I should mention is that I used to be a box office supervisor at Ticketmaster, so I used to be selling and booking the film tickets. So it's been really difficult for me to see that system erode.
Aww.
Yeah, and you can't it's bizarre that you can't use a 10 pass to book online.
Yeah, interesting.
That's weird. I understand why they're not using Ticketmaster because of the booking fees that are added and stuff. But also, like, I don't know why the tickets are so expensive. It used to be $20.50 for an A-session adult. And so, like, $26 seems like a massive increase.
Yeah.
And I used to buy senior tickets, which were $12.
Wait, how did you buy senior tickets?
You just buy them.
You're not that old.
Because... You just buy them. Okay, if anyone is a time traveler listening to it, previously at the film festival, the cheapest ticket you could buy was senior, and the people who work at the box office don't work the door, so those people don't care.
Wow.
The people who work on the door were festival volunteers.
We should try this. I'm filing this away in my head.
Yeah, if anyone wants to try it and it doesn't work, that's on you. But now the senior tickets are like, I think they're $20 or $22 or something. But I was like, come on, man, they used to be $12. We used to be a country, but I did think that it was poor planning on behalf of the film festival for the senior tickets to be that cheap because like the audience is like 80% seniors. You're only supposed to be 60 as well.
All right. I think it's time we move into our hot picks.
Yeah, sorry for all this admin chat.
No, it's been good.
But I think that if the people are listening, the people are. And we are well aware that not all of the films are travelling outside of Auckland and Wellington.
Yeah, I've heard that the selection in Dunedin is quite limited.
The section in Christchurch is limited as well. I think the positive of Christchurch is they have 3 venues, whereas in Auckland we only have 2.
Yeah.
Which is like... sort of devastating. I remember sort of like the peak of the film festival. Okay, so like going back to 2017, a film festival was at... Okay, I'm going to test myself. It was at Event Cinemas, Queen Street, Westgate and Manukau. Rialto, Civic, also at Hollywood for the first year, I think. And ASB Waterfront Theatre and Academy.
Uh-huh.
And Sky City Theatre. Maybe the Sky City Theatre and the Hollywood didn't overlap, but it was like about 8 or 9.
Yeah, I mean, part of my in the ancient past, my like technique for booking was to try and go to as many of the little weird cinemas that it was at as possible.
Because it was sort of like a better experience if you could go to like a weird little cinema.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there was a maximum 9 venues, and it was like good that they had it at Westgate and Manukau because that was much more accessible to a lot of the, 1.5 million people who live in Auckland. Now it's on Queen Street and it's in Avondale. Maybe on paper that sounds good. It's like near a train station, but the last bus is like 10. And they put all these midnight screenings there.
Yeah. It's
and you can't go from like one, I think on public transport going from between the two venues like 40 minutes.
Yeah, it's a bit rough.
And like maybe 25 by car. So it's like it's pretty much impossible to see one film at one venue and then quickly go to the next one. Whereas like in the past you used to, you could really easily run between
You're like, I'm going to the
Civic and
Civic,
Academy and Queen Street. They're all like next to each other, and then like you used to be like, oh god, we've got to go like all the way to Newmarket, we've got to go on the City Link, it's going to take 15 minutes. Like,
oh no, I have to go to the ASB Waterfront Theatre. It's going to be a 10-minute walk.
Yeah. Oh, it's actually longer than that. It was like a whole thing because I used to do heaps of box office work at the Waterfront Theatre because no one else could be bothered walking down there. You could take the City Link, and now it'd be so fast to take the City Link because they took the cars off Queen Street. It used to get held up by cars. One thing to mention is that they are doing like 2 days of screening of New Zealand films at the Waterfront Theatre only.
Oh, that's cool.
It's kind of cool. Like, that's the least accessible venue.
Oh, okay. I'm glad you got to exercise these demons.
I have so many demons, and I wouldn't have been negative about it, but I know that now that I've heard that many people feel the same way.
Yes.
And that's not on the programmers or anything.
What?
That's on, I don't know, behind the scenes and maybe the government.
What are you rambling about?
I'm not rambling.
It's the government. What is the government done?
I'm just talking about arts funding in New Zealand.
Oh, yes. Yeah, something weird, something something bad has happened at the film festival that I haven't. This is not me being like, I can't say anything about this. I genuinely don't know what it is. A bunch of people quit, and it's a much smaller event this year, which is just concerning. It's just sad to see.
I know they lost a lot of money in COVID.
Yeah.
And in 2021, the film festival didn't go ahead in Auckland because we were locked down.
Yes. But
it did go ahead in the other cities. Probably they had worst film festival of my life. Because I didn't get to go to it, but other people did. And then even now they're like, hey, have you seen this movie? Like, no, I didn't. I didn't see it. Oh, that's funny because all of us went.
I'm sorry, Raz. I did get to see those movies because I was
screeners because she's a film reviewer. Them. And she was like chatting away in our group with all our friends who moved away from Auckland.
Oh yeah, that one was really good.
Yeah, this was Amelia, 2021. Anyway, what was I saying? I don't know.
Government funding, it sucks.
Yeah, so something went wrong. Like in COVID, it went wrong. And then it was like sort of okay in 2022, 2023. I don't remember properly. It was like limited program. Oh, 2023 wasn't here. 2022, it was like a limited program, but we were expecting that, right?
Yeah.
But I think that this year, the sort of like presumption was that it would be similar to how it was before. And it is like even smaller than it was the past 2 years post-COVID.
Yeah.
And I know that there's a new director, and I know that it has moved from being based in Auckland to being based in Wellington, which I think is really sad. It like, you know, I know that it's like worse if you live in one of the other cities, but really like the deterioration of what the Auckland program used to be to what it is now is, I would say, the most dramatic.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, as you said, it was like
it doesn't
9 cinemas.
It doesn't really make sense. It doesn't make use of the venues. It's really, really expensive, like much more expensive than anywhere else. And we don't even have all the I don't think we have all the screenings that they have in Wellington. And a lot of the programs sort of like I said with the nocturnal stuff, it like indicates a program that we're not experiencing. It's sort of like the Wellington Film Festival, and it is shown at a limited capacity in the other cities.
Yeah, I think, look, ultimately, and full disclosure, I did get paid by the film festival this year to write program notes for one of the films.
Well, I haven't, so I
so I'm a little bit biased towards the film festival. I think it's gutting to see it so much smaller than in previous years, and ultimately, it's like it's difficult to like speculate on what the ultimate cause or whatever of that is, and I'm just hoping that it turns around.
Yeah, it is.
Hopefully, loads of people go this year. They make heaps of money, and they're like, "Oh, damn, we should show at 9 cinemas in Auckland in 2025," so that Amelia flies back over for it.
It was like interesting though, because like some of the articles I read in the previous years were like stating like how little money they had made like in 2022 compared to 2019. I was like, but the program was like a fifth of the size. Like, of course you were never going to make as much money. But I don't know financially how you can get out of that. If the program is consistently, 20% of what it formerly was, like how is the money ever going to come back?
Yeah, absolutely.
But obviously I can understand they don't have money to make it bigger, but something's got to give. I don't know what can happen. But
my plan.
It sucks.
We buy Cupid Bar in Point Chev.
In Point Chev.
Which has a cinema behind it that's currently being used as art storage.
Really?
Yes. That's why Cupid Bar is such a weird shape. It's the foyer to a cinema.
I've only been in the front because Lizard did a photo shoot there.
There's only the front.
Okay.
It is just the foyer to a movie theater. There's like an aisle with a bar next to it, and then a slight T shape with some doors that you can't go through. And then behind that is a cinema. Is a cinema. We buy that.
Yes. With your New Zealand On Air funding.
Yeah, absolutely. And we turn it into Auckland's most successful independent theatre, and then we offer its services for free to the film festival next year.
Okay.
And we screen everything there twice.
Twice?
Yeah.
And at different times? We're not going to do 2 screenings and they're both on Sunday at 10 a.m.
No, they'll be on Tuesday at 10 a.m. Thank you. Okay, I think that's enough preamble. I think we've got to talk about the movies.
Sorry, it was a lot of preamble, but there's a lot of stuff to work through.
I think, it's the NZIFF special. It's not the movies at the NZIFF special. We had to talk about the fest.
I forgot. Maybe I was going to say something else. No. Oh, no, the other thing I was going to say is that it's like interesting to the effect of the general like Auckland film programming on the film festival now that they have sort of interesting and like retro programming at Hollywood and Academy regularly.
Yeah.
So, like every day they're showing old movies or like rescreenings of old movies or like on like monthly themes and stuff like that. Is that when you see sort of the same stuff in the film festival program, you're like, oh, like who cares? Like,
yeah,
Paris, Texas, they had like 2 screenings of that last month at Academy. Like,
I think that's so interesting because I don't know if maybe I just like didn't know anything, which is very likely. But, you know, when we were kind of in our early 20s, it was very difficult to see an old movie at the cinemas. Like,
yeah, it was. That was like a cool thing if you went to another country on holiday that they would have stuff like that.
Yeah, there was just not like repertory cinemas were not like had all closed, I guess, in the 90s. And
yeah, I know that we know that all the cinemas of Auckland had closed in the 80s and 90s because our parents would always be like, "What cinema are you going to?" and then say the name of one that we had never heard of.
Yeah, absolutely.
Where do you want me to drop you off? Mid-City Cinemas. And you're like, what the hell is Mid-City Cinemas?
Oh, you're going to go see a movie at Cupid Bar. Okay.
No. Let's go down to Village 8.
But yeah, it's...
And I know that there was
I think
a cinema...
on the other hand, though...
Sorry.
The kind of whatever kind of like cliff independent film distribution has fallen off in New Zealand. It does mean that there are a lot of things exclusively playing at the film festival that I think in the past would have gotten
a wider release.
Which I think, I mean, it's positive that you get to see them at the film festival. I guess it's overall
but it's
negative that you can't see them
pressure
anymore.
to like see them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Especially like with there being so few screenings and so few venues that there's so many more clashes that you're like, I would really like to see this film, but I don't think it's going to be possible. Which for me, I'm going to say an actual film now. For me was Vietnam.
Okay.
Which is a obviously Vietnamese film about two gay coal miners.
Yo!
And the only time that it's screening is 3:45 on the 17th of August. But it's in Avondale, and I saw the TV Glow was at 6 at the Civic.
Oh, no.
Yeah, and it's 2 hours long.
Vietnam sounds like quintessential festival.
That's like
movie
quintessential
as well.
festival. But if I don't see I saw the TV Glow at 6 o'clock because the other time it's screening I'm not in New Zealand, I'm not going to see it, and I don't think it's going to come back.
Yeah, you might never get to see it.
I might just never get to see it, and I know that you've already seen it, so we could like talk about it on the podcast.
Yes. Well, that brings us to movies at the film festival that we have already seen.
I haven't seen any. So
okay.
Don't worry about this section being too long.
Okay, good. Well, we'll just go through because we've talked about a couple of them on the show. So this is where we're going to start saying, I recommend you go see this movie.
Okay. We can cut out some of the preamble.
Oh, nah. It's good stuff. I mean, depends how long we run for. The Beast, we talked about that last time. That's going to be at the film festival. It was pretty good.
Yeah, it was like... You said it was pretty good, and if I want to see it, I have to go to Avondale at 10 a.m. on Thursday.
Nah. It's, I think...
I just want to also acknowledge my privilege here that I am a freelancer, so I do get to, fuck around at 10 a.m. I know, like, I can't imagine how difficult it would be if you were really wanting to see a lot of these films and you work, until 5 or 6 every day.
Yeah, absolutely. So the Beast, I would say, is like, it is pretty good, but having seen it, I wouldn't put it at the top of my like must see list for these films. Evil Does Not Exist, which we have previously talked about. I would put that higher up. The Beast, I think you could watch it at home and you'd be like, oh, it's kind of a cool, like interesting, buzzy movie. Evil Does Not Exist is the kind of movie that like you're not going to see another movie like this year. And I think seeing it with a whole bunch of other people, it's so kind of perplexing and odd that I think that would be a really that would be a good film festival experience. You're like, I saw the follow-up to Drive My Car and it was very strange. And there was a 20-minute scene where they talked about modern dating while driving down the highway. That was largely unrelated to the rest of the movie. That, yeah, definitely up there. Razzie still there?
Yeah, I'm just not interrupting you.
You're just okay. Good. Okay.
I was gonna see what time Evil Does Not Exist is on, but then I was like, oh, everyone's in different cities; they can look up themselves.
Yeah. Okay. And then I saw the TV Glow. I wrote the catalog notes for NZIFF, which was a very cool experience, and I got very emotional about getting to write for the program.
You think that's good? You think it's good, right? Because a lot of people online think that it's hackneyed and cloying.
I thought it was incredible. I think it's an extremely good movie, and I think it's going to be very divisive because it's quite a strange, off-putting movie, and intentionally so.
But did you think it was hackneyed and cloying?
No, I think that's an extremely disingenuous reading of the film. And I think that I think a lot of the recent reaction is because of the kind of like the hype and the benefit of having kind of other people's readings of it. So people are going into it. Like, if you haven't heard about it, it's a movie by
Jane Schoenbrunn.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I said her name and you said a trans.
Their name.
Sorry.
Who is a trans director, and the movie has a trans subtext, but it is being read as like basically just
a coming out movie,
a trans allegory, which I think is like, if you're going in and you're expecting that, and you then go, oh well, that was dumb. That's what the movie was about. You haven't like watched the movie. You haven't like interpreted and read the movie. Because if you actually go and you read the reviews from before there was like a discourse about it, people are still divided on it. But some people are like, well, it's obviously about this thing, or it's obviously about that thing, or it's like, it's about this thing, but that's dumb. And they're all different. Like, it's about being stuck in a small town. It's about coming up. It's about childhood trauma. And it's like, people are all interpreting it differently, whether they like it or not. And I think it's a real shame that now people are going in thinking it's about one thing and then saying, well, obviously it was about that thing that everyone said it was about. Sorry, that's my rant about I saw the TV
that's your
Glow.
rant.
But I think it's a really fascinating movie. It's like a surreal horror movie that's very interested in kind of like metatextuality in a really interesting way, not in a kind of like, we're in a movie right now, but in a like playing with genre and playing with like the formal elements of storytelling and cinematography to kind of collapse meaning and stuff. I think it's very, very interesting mix of David Lynch and Goosebumps.
Okay.
And
it's just a real shame that I can't see the gay coal miner movie and I saw the TV Glow.
Absolutely. Sorry, I went into like a fugue state there and did my rant about I saw the TV Glow. But I don't know anyone else who's seen it. I just had to like sit here and read people's weird tweets about it.
Come out here, so
it hasn't come out here either, but it is showing at MIFF. And I've seen 3 of the old movies that they're playing. Paris, Texas, banger. Classic Wim Wenders banger. Heavenly Creatures, pretty good classic movie. Probably wouldn't go see it at the film festival.
Yeah, I wouldn't see it at the film festival either, but we should point out here that there's been some chatter about how mad people are that it's not showing in Christchurch because it's set in Christchurch. And Amelia said...
Oh no, what did I say? Did I say something
Amelia
horrible?
said, boo-hoo, you can just go outside and see it.
Okay, that's quite offensive. I didn't mean that. The other old movie that they're showing, and this one I would say like definitely go and see this because I don't think it's largely people have seen it, is Peeping Tom by directed by Michael Powell of Powell and Pressburger, who did like The Red Shoes movie. And Black Narcissus. Yeah, it's a pervert movie. It's exactly the kind of movie that we were describing before. Like it's about a guy who murders women and makes like snuff films about them, but it is extremely cool and one of the most like visually captivating films I've ever seen for just like being in like people's houses in London. And it's from 1960, so it's the tone of it being about a weird psycho pervert man is a bit different.
Okay.
And I just think if you are into kind of like strange mid-century cinema,
or just snuff,
it's essential. It's essential.
Okay, so that's the old movies.
Those are the films so that's everything that I've seen that's playing at the film festival.
Okay.
And how much I think you should go see it.
I was wrong before. I have seen Heavenly Creatures.
Okay, good. What are your, because you've booked stuff, right? So what are you going to go see?
I couldn't remember because you had to submit this online form. But I think it was I Saw the TV Glow, Cuckoo, Problemista.
Wait, go through slow and we can have a little chat about them.
Oh no, because I was. Oh, okay. I was gonna go through the list of everything that I picked, not everything I booked.
Nah, let's go through the ones that you actually booked
I also can't remember.
Okay.
Okay, sorry.
But then we can.
We've already talked about I Saw the TV Glow.
Yes, I'm very interested to see what you think because I do think it's going to be a pretty divisive film, and it's probably not something I would like recommend to you.
Yeah, I didn't think it was. Yeah, that's why I was like, I want to see the coal miners.
But I'd be fascinated to know what you think about it because it's like 50% a really like touching coming of age story, and then 50% about like the evil ice cream man.
The other thing, and I don't want to add too much of a personal note to the podcast.
Yeah,
is that it's my birthday. In the like 5 days I can actually go to the film festival because I'm going to be in Auckland.
Oh, of course it is.
Like, that's like another thing that I've been like adding on to everything is that I'm like, I have to see this. However, it is my own birthday. And I don't want to spend, like last year I had a really, really bad birthday by myself in Bangkok where I didn't speak to anyone except a guy who was like a shopkeeper who was like trying to flirt with me, but he was selling hijabs.
Man, I'm sorry for your sad birthday.
And it was just like one of those birthdays where you're like alone and you think I'm just gonna have a nice day by myself, and then I just got all these messages that were sort of like insincere. Or like had my name spelt wrong and stuff. And even like I was like 4 hours behind as well, so I was like, even in my chat with Amelia and our other friend, I was like, what about my birthday? And Amelia was like, oh, I thought that you weren't interested. Anyway.
So you're also going to see, you're also going to see Cuckoo.
But on my actual birthday, I'm going to see Problemista, which, as you
long-time
listeners will know, that I have been wanting to see that since the end of last year. So it was a great surprise that there's going to be one showing and it's going to be on my birthday.
That's
but I will be going by myself because it's at 3:45.
Okay. And you've been watching his TV show, right? Is it good?
Yeah, Phantasmus is finished.
Okay.
Phantasmus is like it's just an amazing program. It's like great that they were allowed to make it. It just has so much. Well, this is like interesting because I found it really relatable, and I know another New Zealand writer who found it really relatable as well. And then I was talking to a third person who was like, yeah, it's a really relatable TV program. And I was like, I don't think it's relatable to all people. It's relatable to like queer, minority ethnic, professional creatives who have ADHD.
Look, I'm a debatable number of those things, so I'm going to give it a shot.
Yeah, but I don't think it's relatable to all people.
No.
So that's why it's like so lucky that it's like that we have it.
Yeah, because I've noticed that it's been getting kind of odd reviews. The kind of reviews that make me go, I should watch that myself.
Because like I loved Lots of Spookies. I don't want to spoil anything about Phantasmas, but I like gasped at this like one scene where so like the whole series is that like Julio Torres doesn't have something called proof of existence, which is like now something that you need to live. Like you need it to go on the subway, you need it to rent an apartment. And he just sort of like puts off applying for one or like doing anything that will like get you one. Get you the proof. And there's like other people in the world who can't get proof because they are because they're undocumented immigrants or have other issues like that. But he sort of like could get one if he did something that he doesn't want to do, but he just doesn't get anything done. He's like really he's really occupied by this. He's really occupied by this mole that he has that he thinks is killing him. And that's why he can't do anything. And all the other people in his life, including his like robot assistant and his agent, who isn't actually an agent, she was doing a performance piece about being an agent, and then she couldn't stop doing it. Everyone's like, you have to open these letters from your landlord about how your apartment is being demolished, sort of like Dido video style, and you have to stop worrying about this mole, and you have to like get a job and like all this stuff, and he just keeps like not doing it and spends all his money on an earring shaped like a oyster.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, but then like one of the things that he thinks of that is gonna make him money is making like a sort of like Netflix ripoff show called How I Came Out to My Abuela. And it like really like pains him to like say this to the executive. But I was like, oh, that's incredibly relatable.
Okay, back to the film festival. Sounds great.
But I mean, like, if you like the sound of that, then you should go and see Problemista. And you should download Phantasmas, which I have heard is on Neon in New Zealand. And you should also try and find Lots of Spookies. Is pretty hard to find.
Yeah, I was going to say, I've tried it.
It's on HBO. I have some other episodes which I can put in the shared file. There's a Bing Bong file.
Rebecca's crime repository. My
crime repository. I will share with the listeners my crime repository, which is in the bio and the link tree of the Cinema Bing Bong Instagram. But yeah, that's that.
So,
and I also like. I feel really weird when I look at Anna Fabreja, who is in Lots of Spookies and she's in Phantasmas, because she was born on the same day as me.
Oh.
Which I feel the same way about Austin Butler.
Oh.
Which I saw the Bike Riders this weekend, and it's just like, it's really weird to like look at someone's giant face and be like, every day that I've been alive is the same as you.
Treading parallel paths through the stars.
Treading parallel paths. Okay, what's the next movie?
Okay, Cuckoo is you're seeing, and I don't have tickets for it yet, but I'm going to go see it at MIFF. My beautiful fiance doesn't like horror movies, so it's not one of our shared.
I just felt like that was like one not to miss.
No, it looks like something people are going to be talking about.
Yeah.
And also looks like it could be good, which is not always a crossover that you get.
A horror movie starring Hunter Schafer, right?
Yeah, and it's about some kind of like European resort where things start getting kind of weird. The description made it sound a bit like The Shining, but with more people around. And I'm here for that. I think that looks cool.
Yep.
Go see Cuckoo. Okay, what's next on your thing? You got tickets for Janet Planet.
Yeah, I have not looked into this at all. I just know that everyone's going to be talking about it.
Yes, look, Janet Planet looks like it's probably good, but it's not something that. It also looks like it's something that probably isn't interesting to me. But I will see it, and I'll probably say, yeah, it was pretty good. It's like so it's like directed by this playwright. And so it's that kind of movie.
I haven't seen a play movie since, do you remember when I saw The Father?
Yeah, yes.
That Oscars where Anthony Hopkins won for The Father and like no one had seen it, but I had seen it because it was like I was going to the movies with my mum in the weekend and it was the only thing on.
Do you want the log line for Janet Planet?
Yeah.
Enthralled by her own imagination, 11-year-old Lacey spends the long summer at home with her mother and 3 strangers.
It sounds a bit like Boyhood.
It's going to be one of those movies.
Like a million hours long.
Look, it'll probably be pretty good. I think it will probably also get a wider release, even in New Zealand.
My number one pick for movies that I think will get a wider release is The Outrun. That's the one starring Saoirse Ronan, who's like goes to the Outer Hebrides. Yeah,
it's based on a popular memoir that Maddie read and keeps saying, I can't believe they made that into a movie.
It's absolutely the kind of thing that they will show in New Zealand like a million times.
Yes, you're going to go see that at the Bridgeway and someone's going to push in front of you to buy a scone.
You can see that at Lighthouse Cuba and somebody can ask you why you think it's so funny.
So you've got an interesting film on your list that I refused to consider because I didn't like the name.
The Humanist Vampire one?
Humanist Vampire Seeking Consenting Suicidal Person. Tell me about this movie.
I chose that one because it would make sense with the timing if I go out for dinner on my birthday between the Problemista and this one.
Okay.
Well, it said it was... I was interested in it because it said it was the logline says Amelie for goth girls.
True. Okay. Yeah, and this is written by Amanda Jane Robinson, who is extremely cool.
And so trustworthy.
And so I trust Amanda's write up.
Yeah, I wouldn't have, because I was put off by the title as well. But when I saw that, I was like, oh, okay.
Okay. Maybe I'll give this one a chance.
It's about a French teenage vampire who doesn't want to kill anyone. So she's looking for someone who wants to commit suicide.
Very similar to Twilight.
Oh my god. Very similar to that one short in Paris Je t'aime with Olga Kurylenko in it.
So what else have you got? A Different Man looks pretty good. You've got tickets for this.
Okay, yeah, I chose A Different Man. I don't know if it's like really my sort of thing, but we are planning to do a A24 ranking special on the podcast. One day. We always are like, we need to do a special so that we have one in the bank for when, if something comes up and we can't record, but then that just never happens.
We'll get there. We're doing
a
special right now.
We always think there's going to be a month where we haven't seen any movies or anything as well.
And it's not happened yet. I keep thinking, I haven't seen that many movies. And then when I write down what we have to talk about on the podcast, I'm like, well, I can't talk about all that. So is this the one about a guy who gets like a like a face transplant?
Aaron Schimberg's darkly comic feature from indie powerhouse A24 sees a man with facial tumours make a Faustian pact to change his appearance, only to discover good looks can't buy happiness. And maybe I read something that the director or someone involved actually does have that facial tumour thing?
I hope so.
Don't quote me on that.
Don't quote.
Yeah, no, it says that. And a cast posting festival favourite, Renata... Oh, I don't know how to say that. What language is that? Renata Reinsfer. Maybe it's the Nordic language.
Oh, she's in Worst Person in the World.
The Worst Person in the World. And Marvel man Sebastian Stan. It's Adam Pearson himself, born with neurofibromatosis, as Oswald, who steals the show in a third act cameo.
There you go.
Sorry, not the director, someone like cameo appearance. But I was like, that seems like pretty interesting for A24 who are untrustworthy. Oh, it's got Owen Klein in it. That's the brother of Frankie Cosmos.
Oh.
Who himself has directed a movie last year, I think, but I haven't seen it.
So there's like a couple of face transplant movies this year. And people always want to say that it's like Face Off. But I feel like more people should see the movie Dark Passage. Have you seen Dark Passage?
No, I haven't seen Face Off either.
Oh, Face Off is great. But
I don't think that I've said this on the pod before.
Yes.
When I was like 17, my friends decided to like run a movie marathon.
Okay.
At my house, because I like had, my house was available. But then they got mad at me for not taking it seriously enough and excluded me from it.
Oh no.
So it was like three neurodivergent teenagers watching DVD after DVD and had like cut out like the posters as like mini posters. And like had all these like schedules and stuff in my house, and me and the rest of the household were like just around the like central living room, but like getting scolded if we were involved.
Oh my god!
Because I was a teenager, I had to go to my uncle's birthday and like stuff like that, and they were like, "Oh, so you're not taking this seriously?" Sorry, but we already saw The Cube at like 4 a.m.
That's horrific. I'm glad that you survived that. So Dark Passage is a Bogart Bacall noir about Bogart being a criminal who has to escape from prison and then get a face transplant in order to survive on the outside. But the whole start of the movie is shot in first-person perspective, so you don't get to see his face before the transplant.
So it's like Peeptoe.
It's crazy. I recommend that. Not showing at the film festival. Okay, what's next? Armand. This is one of the Cannes movies everyone's talking about.
Yeah, that's a Cannes movie that everyone's talking about. That's why I picked it. Sorry, it takes a little while to get the things up.
That's okay.
Armand, winner of the Camera d'Or for Best First Film at Cannes, this Bergman-esque drama entraps the viewer into a claustrophobic debate of fact and fiction when two boys' parents are called into a meeting at their school, and people are comparing it to Anatomy of a Fall.
Okay.
Where the thin divide between truth and lies is blurred. Which is like the sort of thing that I'm interested in when if I can't get gay coal miners.
Yeah, I think that sounds pretty good. The other big like Cannes movies that I think are probably interesting, All We Imagine Is Light, which is the Indian drama
that
movie.
One I can't remember if I booked it or not.
Okay,
because I was planning to see it as like a big film that people are talking about. But again, like it's not really like specifically my interest.
Yeah, that one and Seed of the Sacred Fig, which is like the most film festival name of any film I've ever heard.
Yeah, that's too much for me.
That's like an Iranian political drama where like I think some of the people couldn't go to Cannes because they were like imprisoned for the film.
Yeah.
I think like if I was booking NZIFF tickets, I'd probably choose one of those to go to be my like. Cannes,
one but not both.
My Cannes movie. No, I mean, and Armand. One of those three I would probably pick.
Sorry, what was the second one?
All We Imagine Is Light, Seed of the Sacred Fig.
Yeah,
Armand.
All three seems like a lot.
They're the like serious Cannes contemporary arty drama films.
I didn't choose the Seed of the Sacred Fig because I have seen, I think, 4 political Iranian movies.
And too many.
I wouldn't prioritize seeing a 5th.
Okay, fair.
I mean, like, not... yeah, they were... sorry, I can't remember the names or anything right now. It's going to be too hard to figure out what they were. But they... I think they showed, like, more than one at the Film Society a few years ago when I was in that. And I've seen one in a previous film festival as well.
The thing that's stopping me from like going all in on All We Imagine Is Light is that it's like an Indian drama in a more like Western cinematic style, which like on the one hand feels quite interesting to me, and then on the other hand I'm like, well, I see a lot of things in a Western cinematic style. Like,
yeah. I think I was thinking that if I did, there is like quite a few Iranian movies, like political Iranian movies. In the film festival. If I were going to pick one, I would pick Tatami. An Iranian judo champ weighs her principles and ambitions against the safety of her family and herself as government forces threaten violence unless she toes the party line in this riveting political sports thriller. I thought that one like might bring something different if you've already seen a couple about journalists or just generally about families or whatever. I was like, bringing a sports element into it could be pretty interesting.
Yeah, that sounds really fascinating. It's like a big year for Iranian films. Because NZIFF is doing a whole they're
the same ones.
Their Argento thing this year is Iranian new wave movies. So I haven't got tickets for any of them yet, but I might see the one about the evil scarecrow.
Right. Yeah, I think like that would be interesting, but I think that the Seed of the Sacred Fig doesn't appear to be bringing anything new to the genre if you've already seen a few films like that.
Yes, absolutely.
In a situation where you're trying to prioritize.
Where you only have a limited amount of money to see a little, Yeah. So what's next on? You got The Teacher's Lounge.
This was like the German entry for foreign film at the Oscars.
Oh, okay.
Last year, or /this year. So that was a drawing point. I think it sounds a little bit different. A little bit similar to Armand. It's about what's called a thriller with deft handling of complex relational issues. The Teacher's Lounge, Das Lehrerzimmer, utilizes a string of petty thefts at a German secondary school as a catalyst to explore a range of broader social issues: racial prejudice, socioeconomic status, institutional conformity, and Germany's troubled history, a spectre always lurking at the film's edge.
This is absolutely not the kind of film I avoid at film festivals. But I usually wait until Rebecca sees it and says, no, this one's good.
Yeah, you just make me see all them. But I think that I'm more interested in social drama than Amelia.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I thought that... also, I used to work in a German secondary school, so that was appealing. And, it was really well reviewed and stuff, so that's made it a pick for me.
It's like your I Saw the TV Glow.
But also, and it has a Turkish director.
Oh, cool. Oh, now I'm like, oh, that is interesting. Because when I was like, it's a German movie about racial prejudice, I was like, oh, okay. But if it's got a Turkish director, could be good.
I think that's I think the appealing aspects to me are Turkish director, German film that's not about war.
Yes.
Or a really terrible comedy, as many German films are. And, it's set in a school, and it's, set in the present.
So the last...
And I thought it could be a good parallel with Armand.
Cool. This is such good setup because I'm going to get to hear about all these movies after you see them. I only just thought about that.
Yeah. We have to record that before.
We'll figure it out.
we can let the listeners know that I'm going to Europe for a work thing, and then I'm going to the Olympics. And then I'm going to see my friend, and then I'm going to hang out a little bit, but only for 3 weeks. And I'm coming back for 3 weeks, and then I am going to Asia.
Yeah, not me. I'm just going to be sitting at home, wasting away.
But it's sort of like an unusual thing because this is booked for me for work purposes, so I didn't have any control over it.
Yes.
My only control was like, don't book me a flight to London and back within 5 days because I will die. So I just had to be like, can you book the return flight like 3 weeks later and I will do my own stuff.
You've got one more film on your list of stuff you think you've got tickets for.
I definitely have tickets for all of these, but I think there's like one more that I can't remember because I know there was 10.
You've got the other trans movie playing, Crossing.
Yeah, I wanted to see the other trans movie. And this one is set in Georgia. I haven't seen a film from Georgia. An aging aunt must voyage from her rugged Georgian home to cosmopolitan Istanbul in search of an estranged trans niece in this graceful cross-cultural panorama from Levan Akin.
Raz, I've just read something that's put Crossing into my must-see category.
Okay, I thought you weren't listening.
No, I was listening. I was listening. I just didn't have anything to add about this movie. I haven't seen. Here's a Guardian headline that's in the footnotes of Levan's Wikipedia page. I saw In Bed with Madonna 50 times. I'd never seen guys kissing before.
He said that?
Yeah. Levan Akin on formative films, trans rights, and usurping his heroes. This guy sounds cool as.
Yeah, I thought that movie sounded cool, so I booked it. So there.
I thought it sounded pretty cool, and I was like, I wonder if that will live up to everything. But now that I've read that thing, I'm like, no, I'm really just going to see it. Okay, so here are some of the movies that we've talked about most of the films that I was like, that looks really mean. Mm-hmm. But here, I'll just go through some of the other ones, and then you can go through some of your other ones, and then we can talk a little bit about myth. So there's a bunch of music documentaries. For my money, I would go and see the Ryuichi Sakamoto concert film Opus. I think that would be really special and cool. They showed that at some like Sound Music Academy Performance Centre on like a Thursday at 2 p.m. in Melbourne, and I was so sad that I couldn't see it. So hopefully at the film festival it's playing at a normal time and you can go see it because it looks extremely cool. Ryuichi Sakamoto, for people who don't know, was in the band Yellow Magic Orchestra, is a kind of like incredible pioneer of electronic music of various different kinds, and also is just a really like talented musician, like composer. Did some cool soundtracks. I'm not going to talk as much about the other ones. I just really want to see that movie. It's
playing for our listeners in Auckland. Is playing on the 13th of August, Tuesday, 6:15 at the Civic, and then it plays the next day, 14th, Wednesday at the Civic as well, but it's at 12:15.
Aha. There's a couple of New Zealand documentaries that look pretty cool. The Haka Party incident. Do you know what the Haka Party incident is, Raz?
No.
So at Auckland Uni...
Anthony Kiedis. No, I do know what it is.
Yeah, so at Auckland University, I'm pretty sure it was the engineering department, but some people used to annually, for capping, do like a minstrel haka. Yeah. And one year there was like a hardcore protest against it and they all got like arrested and stuff. And so this is a documentary about that, which I think would be absolutely worth learning more about. Seems like it would be very interesting.
Yep.
And there's one called Naughty Little Peeptoe, which is like about some homo stuff that looks pretty good.
I don't prioritize seeing documentaries in a film festival, because there's also the documentary film festival. But also I don't know, it was like one of those things that like when you were younger, you like really like put a lot of pressure on yourself to see all these documentaries. And I don't like feel like that anymore, so I don't watch as many.
I usually try and see one. Just for that.
It feels healthy.
Yeah, for that reason.
Right. It feels healthy, but I mean, I'm very limited this year, so
I think also now that I don't live in New Zealand, I was seeing these like New Zealand docos that they were playing, and I was like, I'm never going to get to learn about that thing. Someone else.
Yeah, because I do live here. I was like, oh, boring. I could just go outside and see that.
Yeah, no, someone else. Yeah, like heavenly creatures. Someone else will need to go and watch naughty little Peeptoe on my behalf. There are a bunch of like weird horror movies playing. The Substance, which also everyone at Cannes really liked. Sleep, which is like, God, what is sleep? What is sleep? I was about to be like, it's about this thing, and then I was like, no, I don't remember. It's it's a Korean. Yes, it's a Korean horror movie about a guy with a sleeping disorder, but it's not a sleeping disorder. It's like a ghost or something. I haven't seen it, so I don't know.
I do have a sleeping disorder, so it was not that appealing.
Yeah. And there's you're definitely not going to see this because it's in black and white, but there's like a German sci-fi movie called The Universal Theory that looks really interesting. And I
thought that looked that was on my maybe list.
I just watched the Fassbinder TV mini-series, like 2-part movie, World on a Wire, which this looks like these guys have watched World on a Wire 30 times. So I was like, oh, I should see that.
I think that has a clash with All We Imagine Is Light, unless you're super speedy.
One that I am seeing at NZIFF is Kneecap, which is it's like a biopic about an Irish rap group, but they're playing themselves. It looks really weird and like quite cool. I'm very interested in that. The People's Joker, which I'm not sure that normal people have heard about, but I'm sure everyone who listens to this podcast knows what The People's Joker is. Yeah, will have
heard about it. There's a couple of normal people that listen to this.
Yeah, but they're normal film fans. The People's Joker is like a autobiographical parody of DC Comics about like trans coming to terms with yourself. That looks totally strange. Coming to terms with yourself. Well, because I don't think it's just about coming out. It's like about
sorry, I just on the Drag Race Global All Stars, it's a lot of the people don't speak English usually or as their first language, obviously. And someone used the phrase "after I did my coming out."
Hell yeah! After I did my coming to terms with myself.
Yeah.
And I think probably if you didn't notice this in the program, there is a film about Palestine that I think probably a lot of people will want to see called No Other Land that is meant to be really good. I mean, / totally harrowing.
I just wanted to point out that if you do want to see People's Joker in Auckland, there's only one screening, so I won't be able to go. It's on the 9th of August, which is a Friday, at 11 p.m. at Hollywood in Avondale, which is after the last bus. So if you've got a car, or if you live in Avondale, and you want to see a movie at 11 p.m., there's a lot of caveats.
I would also say that if you are interested in seeing this film, distro for it has been like really weird. So you probably want to try see it now because you might not get to see it unless you want to spend a bunch of money on like a specialist VHS of it or something like odd like that, you know?
Yeah. Like you might not even be able to find it online.
Yeah. You might have to special order a DVD of Remembering Every Night.
From the actual person who made the film.
From the person who made the film.
Should I, can I go over my...
Yeah, go over your wish list.
Other pick of my wish list? Okay, this is the other Iranian one that was a little bit different. My favorite cake. It's showing twice, both times at 10 a.m. A lonely but fiercely determined 70-year-old widow takes a second chance on love in this charming and funny yet politically subversive romance from Iran. I do like romance films with older people in them, So I think that this would be a good film to see if you like The Desert Bride.
Okay.
Which is oh shit, I don't remember if it's Chilean or Argentinian. I'm gonna look that up. Which is about a maid who gets fired. And she's an older woman. She doesn't really know like what to do with herself. It's an Argentinian Chilean drama film from 2017, and it's a Cannes movie. So that I like that movie. That's a nice movie. She like hooks up with a truck driver, and she's like really like sort of like shy, like reticent older woman. So that's interesting. And also the heiresses. I think that's the English name. I know it's called Las Herederas. Okay, it just comes up. Yeah, the heiresses. That is a Paraguayan film about a older lesbian couple who are like getting divorced.
That sounds cool.
Yeah, it's a 2018 movie. The description is when her affluent legacy is disrupted by bankruptcy, an insolvent woman tries to clear her debts by starting a taxi service. However, she charts a path of self-discovery amidst harsh reality checks. So if you want... Did you...
Sorry, I've got one to add. Did you see Anatolian Leopard?
No.
That's a Turkish movie about this guy who's the director of a failing zoo. And then the rare leopard that's the only thing getting their, it's like basically keeping their heritage status is this leopard. And then the leopard dies, so he has to fake this leopard being alive. And then also falls in love with this woman.
So we've got 4 films there if you want to do your own mini film festival about older people in love.
Yeah.
And you can get that all kicked off by seeing My Favorite Cake at the film festival.
Fantastic.
Brief History of a Family people are describing as a Chinese saltburn.
Oh, okay.
But I mean, this I feel like it's impossible for the like negative aspects of saltburn to be in another movie.
Yeah, true, right? Absolutely. Well, they'll probably be in Emerald Fennell's Wuthering Heights.
Oh my god. Yeah, it says, drawing inspiration from Pier Paolo Pasolini's Theorem, 1968, the surreal tale of a stranger seducing every member of one family. Lynn dissects the unspoken and unacknowledged dissolution of a bourgeois household as an inconspicuous intruder insinuates himself among its members and reawakens their suppressed individualities.
Oh, this sounds cool. It's really interesting.
And the editor's name is Per K. Kierkegaard.
Hell yeah! It's interesting how many films are quite different from their like log line preview, because I'd only read the preview line for this, which is equally mysterious and revealing. Lin Jianji's debut feature, Brief History of a Family, provides a dispassionate, almost analytical look into the dynamics of estranged family relationships in contemporary China. And I was like, oh.
Yeah, I mean...
But a surreal seduction drawing on Pier Paolo Pasolini, that sounds mean ass.
That sounds... I mean, this is something that I have to deal with a lot because I get, I get blurb requests and they like send me the log line of these books and I'm like, that sounds terrible. And then I remember that like, like the descriptions of books are written to sort of, at the moment, are written to appeal to the like widest audience possible.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which often sort of like misses the uniqueness of the book. So I have not been just reading the first log lines and blurbs since I've been more involved with that. And
also, as someone who had to write one of these log lines, it's really hard. It sucks. It's the worst
really
part.
Hard.
I wrote the catalog notes and then I was like, oh.
The Village Next to Paradise is a Somalian film, so I was like interested in. I've never seen a film set in Somalia. Mama Gade is a middle-aged man who drives trucks carrying mysterious cargo and tries to keep away from trouble. His young son Suicidal shares his imaginative dreams with anyone who will listen, while Mama Gade's divorced sister Arawelo aspires to buy a sewing machine in order to gain her independence, plunging us into the everyday life of a Somali village with the ever-present sound of the desert wind, the waves lapping the seashore, the vividly colourful landscapes and fabrics. Sorry, I didn't think the sentence was going to be that long. Harawe's fond and tender labour of love retains a documentary-like quality. I thought this sounded interesting, but it didn't make my short list.
I think it's so hard to tell with these kind of like less high concept films whether it's going to be like, you know, like generic film festival fodder.
Yeah.
Or whether it's going to be like a totally revelatory experience. I mean, obviously any movie can be like that, but when it has like, it's about this weird thing, you're like, oh, cool, well, that will be worth seeing regardless. But when it's like, it's a realist drama, you're kind of like, well, I don't know this director, I don't know any of the actors or the cinematographer, so I got to take a chance on this, I guess.
The director is Somalian.
Yeah.
And he's younger than us. He is 32 this year. So, yeah, I think that could be interesting. But, again, it's one of those ones that I would see if it were cheaper and
you had more time.
There were more screenings, I had more time, etc. Because, like, one of my favorite films I've ever seen at the film festival was Dijon, Africa, which I think I talked about before. It's about a guy who is from Cape Verde and he lives in Portugal, as a lot of people from there do because it's a colony, a former colony, I'm not sure. Can't look that up now. And he decides he's going to go back to Cape Verde and like look for his dad that he's never met, because everything's shitty in Portugal and he's like in trouble about shoplifting and like not doing his construction job properly and all that sort of stuff. And it was like a really great movie and is one of those ones at the film festival where you just took a chance on it. So I'm looking to repeat that experience, but I don't think The Village Next to Paradise is the one.
Sad. Maybe it's the one for you. Get in touch.
He doesn't know the one. Maybe it's the one for you. Get in touch. Another one, Wild Diamond.
Yes.
That one something. That was like a big Cannes movie.
Yeah. It looks...
It's like a French movie about like a teenager who's obsessed with being on a reality show. Or being like an influencer, that sort of thing.
But
glamour comes at a price, it says.
I, for some reason, have like a weird anxiety about films about stuff like that. And
yeah, me too. It's not really my thing.
And if I see them, I will sometimes enjoy them, but I will kind of go out of my way not to watch a movie about someone using computers. I don't know what's going on.
Oh, there. Okay. Sorry, I was on a different page.
Oh, what were you talking about? I don't mean, sorry, I didn't mean computers. I was just being weird. I mean like social media and
I know what you mean,
self-destructive self-image stuff.
Yeah, I meant more the self-destructive self-image stuff. I don't like seeing stuff about a young naive girl who becomes exploited. Yes,
absolutely. It stresses me out.
But it doesn't matter how many computers are there.
Do you have like one or two more you want to talk about before we move on to myth?
I was really interested. This is one that I don't know if I booked it or not. In The Monk and the Gun.
Is political freedom worth the cost of familial or social discord? When Bhutan's king abdicates in favour of democratic reform, a strange series of events unfolds where the old and the new collide in wondrous fashion.
So I read the Letterboxd reviews of this one. So basically what happens is this young monk gets told to go and get a gun.
Wow.
but he doesn't know what a gun is. So he just like walks off to try and like find someone, and then has to. It's like a comedy. It doesn't say it's a comedy in here.
Yeah, it sounds really interesting. Exploring how
set in Bhutan.
Exploring how an indigenous approach to applying these concepts might be taken, carrying culture and values intact into the future. Skewering democracy and modernity as Western cultural constructs. This sounds quite cool. And I've never seen a Bhutanese film. My auntie went to Bhutan. Did I tell you that?
No, it's really expensive to go to Bhutan, but they have lowered the price because you have to pay for a private guide for each day that you're going to be there.
Yeah, everyone was like, "Why are you going to
$300 a day?
Why are you going to Bhutan? You've got to pay a guy every day that you're there." And she was like, "I've always wanted to see Bhutan."
She's like, "I've got guy money."
So maybe we should take a leaf out of Sharon's book and try and track down the monk and the gun.
Yeah, and so a lot, according to the reviews, a lot of the comedy comes out with he has to try. He tries to buy a gun from a confused American arms dealer.
Hell yeah,
this young monk, and it looks really beautifully shot as well. This one I thought was quite interesting. Looking explanation for everything is a Hungarian film. I think the Hungarian title says the word Hungary in it, which is like the only Hungarian word that I know.
This is the satire about a guy becoming a right-wing celebrity.
Yes. Yep, that's enough said. But the negative aspect of this film is that it is 152 minutes.
Ooh.
Which means that you won't, I can't remember what, but you wouldn't, if you saw this, you wouldn't be able to see the following film in the program. But yeah, if you're interested in Hungarian satire and you can sit still for 2.5 hours,
pros and cons,
go for your life. I've lost my list again. Dee Dee, I thought sounded like pretty cool and cute.
Yeah, everyone's talking about Dee Dee.
Are they? Oh fuck! I don't think I can see it. Oh yeah, because that's on my birthday at 6 p.m. It's a semi-autobiographical film following a 13-year-old Chris Wang as he grows up in diaspora, flirting through AOL emojis, navigating family life with beautiful small details. So that would be a good one for fans of Pen 15, Fresh Off the Boat, 90s? Is that what that one's called?
I think so.
Yeah, something like that. Have you read about the one called Gloria?
No, I don't know anything about Gloria.
Okay, well, I'm going to open that one up.
This is all I know is that it's something to do with Baroque music.
Seeking Mavis Beacon is a documentary. I just want to point this out. I'm not really interested in seeing it, but I wanted to point it out on the podcast is that it says in the program that it's a Gen Z movie, but it so if that puts you off, it's not.
Surely it's a millennial movie.
It's a very, very millennial movie about a woman trying to find who the original Mavis Beacon from Mavis Beacon typing computer program from the 90s. And then it turns out to be quite a racialized situation. So that's one for people who interested in the 90s, maybe did Mavis Beacon teaches typing and are interested in race in America.
Yeah, it sounds almost like the kind of the watermelon woman of computer software, children's computer software. Yeah,
so I think that could be interesting. I just wanted to say that because the description was sort of at odds with what I found the film to be about. And sometimes it's hard with these films to find information about them because they haven't had a wide release. I think that this is the sort of thing that maybe people will be interested in who not us. The Sweet East, directed by Sean Price Williams. It's got Jacob Elordi and Ira Debris in it, and it's about what's it about? It's about a young woman who goes on a road trip in America. Is that enough? I mean, is that enough detail on that?
Apparently it's psychedelic as well. Yeah.
And according to Letterboxd, it's okay. Yeah, so Gloria is an energetic re-envisioning of Baroque music through the lens of the fiery female composers whose revolutionary work was concealed through history.
Oh, cool.
Venice, 1800, a women's orphanage and a prideful priest. Gloria has the foundations of a slow burn period piece. However, the setting proves irrelevant to this that's a weird thing to say, irrelevant to this energetic and refreshing film about women, power, and freedom. What is it about, though?
All of
riveting
the
montages of women taking turns on the instrument.
All the screenshots of it look like Vermeer paintings. So
yeah,
if you're into
maybe
that,
don't pay attention to the descriptions of the plot, but it looks like it's going to be a beautiful, artistic movie about women in the 1800s. Do we know what All We Imagine Is Light is about?
No.
It'll be problematic if we don't say what it's about.
I think it's a drama about women.
Oh, so drama about women looking for love
but finding sisterhood. Yeah, it's
Mumbai.
about women.
Yeah, it's about women. I don't know if any of our listeners like women.
There is.
Imagine if they didn't.
There are also, and if I was in New Zealand, I would be seeing probably exactly one of these. Two retro New Zealand like buildings roman movies. One called Head South, which is about like punks in Christchurch, and one called We Were Dangerous, which is about schoolgirls in the 50s. And they both look quite cool.
One that I wanted to mention, and I will just say this about myself, that I don't enjoy animation greatly. So if there's any stuff like that, I'm not the one to listen to about it.
I don't think there's much playing. There was like one, isn't there?
There's one that looks like Elden Ring or something. But I mean, like, I just never pay attention. I haven't seen any Ghibli movies except Red Turtle.
Oh, you got to see Porco Rosso.
I really like King of the Hill and Futurama, and that's it.
All right, and that's the New Zealand International Film Festival.
Oh, sorry, I forgot that you need to talk about MIFF as well.
We don't need to talk about it. I just thought I would mention what films I'm going to go see.
Yeah, of course.
Because we've hit the 2-hour mark now. I'm so excited. This is basically our what's coming up section, I guess, essentially. Okay. I'm so hype. I'm going to go see Kneecap, the Irish movie that we were talking about before. Yeah. I'm going to go see The Cars That Ate Paris, which is a bizarre Australian new wave movie by the same guy who made The Last Wave.
I feel like you're burying the lead here.
We're getting to that. I'm just talking about them in order that we... so this is about people in Australia deliberately causing car accidents from Peter Weir. So I'm so hyped because I've always wanted to see that. And they're screening it.
Well, I've seen Australian Highway Cops, so...
I'm going to see My Sunshine, which is about figure skating. It's like a Japanese kind of touching drama. And then that same day, Raz, I'm going to go see Megalopolis.
Yep. Amelia's going to see Megalopolis, and we're all going to be here on the fucking AT app being like...
They're showing Megalopolis precisely once at MIFF, and the tickets are $40 for some reason, which is...
Australian dollars.
$40, and it's not even at like a beautiful cinema. It's at the IMAX in town.
Oh yeah, I think it has to be IMAX, right?
I think it has to be IMAX.
But are they going to go have the guy? That's 44 New Zealand dollars.
They must have to... I guess they must be bringing the guy who talks to the screen. Yeah.
I hope it's an Australian guy.
G'day, Cicero DiGino. I can't remember. Their names are all like that.
What's that lady's name?
I'm also seeing The Shrouds, which is the new Cronenberg. about the guy who invents a technology to view his dead wife's body decompose, and then someone starts messing with his dead wife's decomposing body.
I hate decomposition.
Also, a film called Dream Team, which I don't really know that much about. All of the only screenshot I've seen is these like two people in silhouette against a sunset. But it's like a kind of like surreal homage to 90s thrillers.
Okay.
Described on IMDb as a postmodern softcore fever dream.
What country is it from?
It's American.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I'm excited for that. And then the final movie that I currently have a ticket for is Rumours, which is the new Guy Maddin movie, who's the Canadian guy who makes all strange retro movies using like techniques from the 1910s. And this is about a bunch of world leaders at a summit who like kind of wander into like the land of the lost type thing. I don't know. They like go missing and find a like evil brain in the forest. I'm not quite sure what happens, but I love Guy Maddin movies. So
The Saddest Music in the World is one of my all-time favorite movies.
I had no idea that the guy from The Free Design did the music for that.
I don't know who the Free Designer.
They're like a 60s like sunshine pop vocal group who I love. And they did the music for The Saddest Music in the World. Oh, it's all happening.
I was watching an episode of Futurama last night, and the credits music was Pizzicato 5.
Hell yeah.
And that was like, it was like one of those like coming together moments where like I would have watched that should I give more personal information on the pod? When I was 11, I came like first in my school at the end of the year, and they gave me Wickles vouchers, and I spent them all on Futurama VHS. I would have heard that song when I was 11, and then, you know, heard it again as like maybe 19-year-old and being like, I've heard this before, and then just like never knew why until yesterday. You were
getting hip. It was sowing the seeds for you to be a real cool cat.
I was sowing the seeds. I mean, it feels like a turning point in my life, buying all those Futurama videos instead of a book. I found out Aubrey Plaza's character's name in Megalopolis is Wow Platinum. So we can imagine the guy saying, Wow Platinum was talking to Cicero. And I was talking to Pulcher and Fundy Romaine. And also Girl Reporter. And we sort of came up with a bit of an idea, and then it will be doing that that meme where you say what you're wearing.
Fundy Romaine sounds like it could be an Australian politician.
Fundy Romaine sounds very Australian.
Okay, I think that's the end of our New Zealand International Film Festival special. Do you think, Rebecca?
Yeah, I feel bad if I interrupt you if you're doing an opening or closing.
Oh, okay. And so we've reached the end.
I really, really hope that the listeners find this useful.
They will. I guarantee.
I'm worried that we were too negative.
Oh, what? No, we listed a whole bunch of films that we thought were good that are coming. Yeah.
And I changed your mind on a few of them too.
Okay. We've now reached reached the it's the end of the episode. Thank you so much. These always are so abrupt. I'm gonna have to do something about that.
I'm always like, oh,
it's the so here we are at the end of the New Zealand International Film Festival Whānau Marama special of Cinema Bing Bong. It's been fantastic for listening. Send in the films that you're excited about and follow us on Instagram at Cinema Bing Bong, or you can send us an email at Cinema Bing Bong at G. I haven't checked that at all. At Cinema Bing Bong at G. Oh.
Yeah, only you have the email address because I know that I will never reply. I struggle with emails, so it's not a good idea for me to be on it.
Oh shit! We got an invite to an advanced screening for something. Shit.
What is it?
Oh, quite a few things. I'm gonna have to forward these to you. Okay. only
Ooh, Cinema Bing Bong out and about.
Yeah. Send us an email. To cinemabingbong@gmail.com, which I will now start checking now that I know that people are actually sending us emails. Sorry, everyone.
And you can message us because I found out I have all notifications turned off because of my line of work means that people just sort of constantly tagged me in negative reviews for 3 years.
Damn.
So I don't have any notifications, so I didn't know that people were messaging the podcast, but I've changed the setup, so I will know now.
Yes. And then tell me, and then I'll come and respond to you.
We've got a system.
Okay. Raz, I'm going to ask you a question to end the episode. Usually you ask the question, but I'm going to do it this time.
Yeah, that's good. It's easier to be asked a question than ask a question.
If Orson Welles directed Doctor Strange, would it be good?
I think it would be good, but I don't think it would be enjoyable.
It still has to have Benedict Cumberbatch in it.
You know when people were doing that thing that was like you upload a photo of yourself and it says like who your celebrity parents would be?
Yes.
I got Orson Welles and Shirley Temple.
Oh, that's hellish.
And everyone else was Korean. No. I was like, yeah, I kind of look half Korean, but it's like it is interesting with those things they always can like pick up that you're not actually white.
What do you mean it would be good but not enjoyable?
Like I think it would be critically acclaimed. And people would pretend to like it.
What? Orson Welles movies are not enjoyable, though.
I don't know what Dr. Sleep is.
Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
Doctor Sleep is a different movie. Okay, if Orson Welles directed Doctor Sleep, would it be good?
That's what I was talking about.
So Orson Welles is directing the sequel to The Shining here.
Yeah, and I was like, that was divisive.
Okay.
So I was like, when you asked me that, I was like, I don't think that Orson Welles can really, improve that much on it. But he'll do what he can.
Yeah, people kind of liked it largely. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. That's good to know.
What's Doctor Strange? Is that guy?
It's the Marvel
Benedict
movie.
Cumberbatch.
Benedict Cumberbatch puts on an American accent and does magic.
He was at Wimbledon in the Royal Box.
When me and Maddie got COVID, we decided to watch Marvel movies because we hadn't seen any of them, and we thought it wouldn't matter if we fell asleep or not. Mm-hmm. And we ended up just getting so angry every time Doctor Strange showed up because he's the worst one by so far. It would be like watching Spider-Man and we'd be like, go get him, Spider-Man. Then we'd be like, get out of there, Doctor Strange.
I have seen some Marvel movies, but like in an order and in a variety that really infuriates Marvel fans.
I don't think there are any of those left now, which is really nice.
Well, it's done.
It's done.
Yeah, it's good we didn't have to go and see them and talk about them.
Orson Welles will never get to direct one now. Sad.
What about Madam Web? Is that DC?
Yeah.
Oh,
no, it's not. No, it's not.
It's Marvel.
No, it's Sony.
Yeah, they're only doing...
It's Sony. Sony owns some of the rights.
What the fuck? Okay, so that's why
That's happened. Why Spider-Man's not in it.
Right, and your favorite is Spider-Man, right?
She's part of the Morpheus verse.
I mean, Spider-Man is your favorite Marvel.
I don't have it's
okay.
I guess so, but I didn't love it.
You gotta answer.
Okay, Spider-Man is my favorite.
Marvel.
My
favorite is Wanda.
Okay. Could Orson Welles improve on WandaVision?
Yes. My favorite DC is Batman.
Oh, yeah, gotta love Batman.
I guess my favorite superhero is Batman.
Okay, I'm cutting the poem there. That's the end.
Okay, bye.